Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Audio check for press. Last audio check for press. Check 1 2. Emily, are you getting audio? Check. Hey. Audio check 1 2. Hey, Emily, you good? Okay. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Main riser, good. Okay.
the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and First Lady Melania Trump.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the White House. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our Vice President, J.D. Vance, and his wife, Usha. Welcome. It is our pleasure to join today by Secretary McMahon, Mrs. Haxett, and I'm also honored to welcome Mrs. Melody Wolf and Lorraine Hawk, and to my Chief of Staff, Haley Harrison, who is preparing to welcome her second child onto the world. Haley, you're a wonderful mother, and I wish you and your growing family all great things. I often think about the brave people who make the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. When I went to honor the fallen service members from the 103rd Sustainment Command at Dover Air Force Base last March, I realized that words cannot comfort the all-consuming grief that family members, and mothers in particular, experience. The loss is overwhelming. Although I understand the deep pride these families feel in their loved ones' service to our great republic, I cannot fathom the depth of their sorrow. A mother is awestruck when she welcomes her child into the world. After 9 months, the miracle of life creates a fascinating bond between mother and child. With each breath, day by day, this bond deepens, bringing forth emotions never felt before. Quite frankly, these are emotions understood only by women. Only a mother can carry this type of powerful connection with her child, which is also too profound for words. This is a time of military conflict for America, and whereby we honor our selfless and valiant service members regularly. Today is the day we hold their mothers in the highest regard. It is these military mothers who find themselves alone, awake in their thoughts in the darkest hours of the night. Of course, we must also remember the mothers with a spouse overseas, praying for a safe return so their family can become whole once again. At the very heart of America's strength lies the boundless love and quiet power of mothers. We are the most devoted teachers, gently nurturing empathy, inspiring dreams, and guiding our children towards goodness. We help them rise with courage when life grows difficult. In every hug, every story read at bedtime, and every sacrifice made without complaint, mothers build the moral foundation of our families. In doing so, America's mothers help build the soul of our nation. I pray you find enduring strength as your loved one serves in defense of our freedom. Most know my husband as the strong commander-in-chief, but his empathy transcends the role and shape a caring leader who constantly remembers each and every American soldier is someone's child. Distinguished guests, please join me with a warm welcome for our President, Donald J. Trump.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Great job. So I want to thank everybody for being here. We have so many things to talk about, but there's nothing more important than military moms that I can tell you, because without you, I don't think it would be in this house. I don't think this house probably ever would have been built a long time ago. So important. I want to start off by saying we're in our great vice presidents right here, and we're in I call it a skirmish, because that's what it is. It's a skirmish. And we're doing unbelievably well, as we did in Venezuela, where it was rapid, over in one day. And we're doing pretty much equally as well, I would say, larger. But we're doing very well in Iran. It's going very smoothly, and we'll see what happens. They want to make a deal. They want to negotiate. And I think that military mothers would want to hear that. Do you agree? I think it's appropriate. Somebody would say, "Oh, that's not appropriate." I think military mothers want to hear about this stuff. And we have the greatest. And we have the greatest. We have the greatest military that we've ever had. We have the greatest military in the world by far. There's nobody even close. And I think we've displayed that. I built the military in my first term, much of it. It was when I inherited the military. It was like when I inherited the border. The border was a mess, and the military was a mess. A lot of you know that because you were there to witness it. And now we have the strongest military that we've ever had. We're just getting a approval of $1.5 trillion to upgrade our military still further. But when I was spending all that money in my first term, it was a great term, a very unbelievable term. We had the best economic numbers that the country's ever had. Now we're going to blow them away. We're blowing them away right now. But I built the military in my first term with the help of a lot of great admirals, generals, and everybody else. And I didn't know we'd be using it quite so much, but that's okay, and whatever it is, because in the case of Iran, we're not going to let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And we're not going to let that happen, and we won't let that happen. And so we're dealing with people that want to make a deal very much, and we'll see whether or not they can make a deal that's satisfactory to us. We have it very much under control. The blockade is unbelievable. The Navy's been incredible. The job they did, it's like a wall of steel. Nobody goes through. In particular, the Iranians, they're not getting anything through one way or the other, so they're out of business. And we'll see whether or not they are agreeing. And if they don't agree, they'll end up agreeing shortly thereafter. So that's the way it is. And I thought you might want to have a little rundown now. The fake news is all happy because they can hear what we had to say. And I have to say, JD's doing a fantastic job. He's working with us, with him and all of the team, Marco, and we have Steve Witkoff, Jared. We have a whole group, the generals, and General Kane has been fantastic. Pete Hegseth, incredible. We have just a great group of people. CIA, John Ratcliffe, he's great. I think Mrs. Ratcliffe's even here someplace. And are you here, Mrs. Ratcliffe? I think somebody said yes. But we have amazing people. We have an amazing military. And I think it's on display. Sometimes you'd rather not have it be on display, but they're there for a purpose. And the greatest military anywhere in the world. And the world is watching us as we do our thing. And we have the respect of the world, which we didn't have. 2 years ago, we were a laughingstock all over the world. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world in every way. So I just want to congratulate you all because you're a big part of it. And I want to thank you, Melania. Amazing the job you've done. She did a little movie. It became the #1 movie. Now, you know. And I can't exaggerate because if I did, they would be all over. It wasn't #1. It was #2. It was #5. So I have to be very, very careful with it. And then it went streaming. It's a different world. I didn't even know what they were talking about. They said, oh. And it became #1 streaming, too. So congratulations. That's an amazing achievement. Huh? And most importantly to her, she's done an incredible job as First Lady. And she's an incredible mom. She has a little boy who's quite tall. He's a little boy to us, but he's quite tall, right? And he's great, Barron, and she takes great care of him. And thank you. Great mom. Today we're honored to welcome to the White House a group of strong and resilient women who represent the best of our country, the amazing military mothers. So important, and we want to thank you all for being here. So many of you I know are recognized, and I want to thank you very much, because there's nothing like the White House, right? Is it the coolest? And by the way, right behind me, see that? You call it a window or a drape. I call it a knockout paddle. Because behind that, in fact, if you want to see it, I think we could work it out, but behind that window is a end drape. In fact, the drapes are so nice, I think I'm going to leave them. How am I going to get a nicer something than that? But that's the entrance to the new ballroom that's being built, which everybody likes, especially since last Saturday evening. They like it even more, because it'll have a thing called security. It'll be nice. But right back there is where we're building. So if you hear any pounding noises, the pile drivers are out. It's already up to the first floor, but we're a little bit ahead of schedule, right on budget. But it's going to be something great. It'll be one of the most beautiful buildings of its kind anywhere in the world. And, you know, for 150 years, presidents have wanted a room. This is the ballroom right here. And it's too small. We had the king and queen of a lovely country, United Kingdom, and we would have had at least 1,000. Everybody wanted to be here, and we had 112 people. Because this is a lovely room, but it's not big enough. It's got one, and it's been that way for many, many years. So every president's been calling. But I was in a position, being a builder and having built many ballrooms and many other things. I'm good at ballrooms, and we're giving you I believe it's the best. It will be the best ever built, and it will have windows that are thicker than any ballroom I've ever built. I usually have glass that's about 1/4 of an inch thick. This is about 6 inches thick. This can repel a lot of different weapons, but it's going to be incredible. It's going to be, aside from being secure, it's going to be I think it's going to be the most beautiful ballroom ever built, and it's something that the White House has needed, that presidents have needed, and it's an honor to be involved. And it really has become very popular. When people see the design, they really like it. And it's been great, gotten some great reviews. Also with us is Secretary of Education Linda McMahon, my friend, who's done such a fantastic job wherever you are, Linda. Oh, hi, Linda. She's great. What a job. Along with Jennifer Hegseth. Jennifer? Hi, Jennifer. He's doing some job, I'll tell you. He's doing a job. You know, he stood up. He was the only one. He was standing up in the ballroom the other day in the event, the White House, they call it the White House dinner. You know, they were saying, when you use that term, I guess you probably can use it, but we had a little dinner the other night, and your husband was standing on the top of a table. Everyone else was under the table. So that's what we want of our Secretary of War, right? We want somebody at the table. Everyone else was under the damn table. Anyway, he's doing a fantastic job. He and the general, those are great news conferences. We like them. They work very well together, I can tell you. The wife of Pete Hegseth, and say hello to Pete. Michelle Ratcliffe. Michelle? Where is Michelle? I think she's here someplace. Michelle. And the wife of CIA Director John Ratcliffe. And Jackie Emmer. Jackie, you are so great. Jack, I know Jackie well because her husband and I, we didn't know each other. We fought. You know, in politics you can fight. And then when we got to know each other, we love each other, right? But she always liked Trump. And she convinced her husband, who's a big power in the House, she convinced her husband that Trump was much better than he thought. And I remember you. I like you. Now I really like him. He's an incredible. But I'd like you more, and I'm always, because you were there long before him, right? But Jackie, you're great. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And as you know, Tom Emmer is the House Majority Whip, and he's a fantastic person, real leader. Comes from an interesting place, a place that's under investigation by our great vice president. They're finding a lot. And Tom Emmer was one of the biggest complainers about what was going on in Minnesota and lots of other places. I also want to say a special thank you to the many moms among our fantastic military aides and social aides who support us here at the White House. They've been incredible. All of you have been so incredible. And I want to thank you very much for being with us today. It's beautiful. The women in this room have sacrificed for our country in countless ways. Among you are veterans and active duty service members, proud spouses, and the parents of those who serve in uniform. Amazing people, the most amazing people. Many of you have missed cherished moments, and you really have. You've spent so much time taking care of the ones you love. You've missed holidays, birthday parties, graduations, or even a child's first words. Others have moved more times than anybody can even count. And I don't know if you love doing it or not, but you get very good at it. You have the way, you know the way to do it. But you do it all because you love America, you love our country. And this week, as we prepare to celebrate Mother's Day, we take this opportunity on behalf of all of us to say thank you very much for the incredible job. You do it with love, so it's not, I don't think, there's no such thing as a job if you love it, but we'll call it a job nevertheless. The job you do is incredible, and everybody respects you so much. You have no idea. So I just want to thank you all, and thank you all for being here. Joining us is someone who knows the incredible sacrifice of service, Brittany Stevenson from Camp Lejeune. That's a hell of a camp. That's beyond a camp. It's the word camp, I don't know. It doesn't look like a camp to me. Her parents were both Marines, and in 1983, her dad survived the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut. We'll talk about that even to this day. That was something. Brittany loved the Marines so much that she married a Marine herself, and the love of her life. Taylor, over 15 years, her family has moved 10 different homes, and been assigned to 6 duty stations from all over the world. And now her daughter, Ava, is part of the Marine Corps Junior ROTC program and wants to become a Marine as well. So, Brittany, your family is a definition of Semper Fi and always faithful. And I want to thank you. Where are you? Where are you? Please stand up. Would you like to come up and say, come here, Brittany. Come here. Come on.
Thank you. I'm not really sure what to say, but this is such an honor and a privilege to be here. I'm truly touched to represent my family, the Marine Corps, Camp Lejeune, and military moms and spouses like you all. So, thank you.
Good job. She had no idea she was going to be doing that, but I looked at her. I said, she looks so great. I'm going to get her up here, right? That was beautiful. Thank you very much. As Melania mentioned, we're also honored to be joined by a military mother who sacrificed far more than most. That's Melody Wolf. And, I love the name Melody because for a long time, they have spell correct and word correct on these crazy machines that we use to put out truths, or they used to be called tweets. And every time I wrote Melania, it would correct to Melody. So I do things, and I work very fast, blah, 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 and I talk about it, and I say, and Melania is fantastic, and happy Mother's Day, Melania, our great First Lady, Melania, but it would spell correct and word correct to Melody, and sometimes I wouldn't proofread it, and I'd say, and I would get just absolute decimated. These people would decimate. They said he didn't know the name of his wife. He keeps calling her. And I said, what the hell is wrong with this machine? I didn't know about that little feature, but I got that corrected eventually. You know who corrected? The military. I said, come here. You got to correct this. You're killing me. I took more abuse. She's been called Melody a lot. Anyway, I had to explain it to you this way. I stood up here to explain it to you. I apologize. last year, Melody's 24-year-old son, Andrew Wolf, of West Virginia National Guard, was on patrol in Washington, D.C., helping to restore law and order to our capital city. And I spoke to her. This woman is amazing, along with her comrade, Specialist Sarah Backstrom, who is just was a fantastic person. He was ambushed by a terrorist and shot in the head. A violent, horrible person did this. Nobody thought Andrew was going to make it, but Melody told me, and I called her that evening in the hospital. Sir, I have no doubt the doctor said he won't be making it. And as you know, Sarah passed away also from a shot to the head by these people, these horrible, horrible people. But Melody was the one person. In fact, Melody's husband, who's great, he didn't feel the same way. But she said, I have no doubt, sir. I'm telling you, he's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. He's going to be fine. I never saw anything. It was really pretty amazing. And she was right. A week went by, another week went by, I'd call. I'd say, how's he doing? Sir, he's doing really well. And the doctors would say, I think he maybe will make it. And she turned out to be right. It was sort of a miracle, actually. And I've never seen, they talk about the power of positive thinking. I've never seen anything like this one. JD, you wouldn't believe it. He had no chance. I'm telling you, and she willed it. And now it's really something very special that I hear he's just doing fantastic. It was a Bible verse from the book of Isaiah. Do not fear, for I am with you. With God's help, Andrew has made a really incredible recovery. It's hard to believe. And during my State of the Union address, we were privileged to award him the Purple Heart. This was a real Purple Heart. This was a terrible thing that happened. And Melody, where are you, Melody? There you are. Hi. Haven't seen you in a little while, but it's true, the story, right? You were the only one. You know that you were the only one. She was so positive, I don't think she hurt anybody else. And your husband's doing okay, and he feels much better about it. He was not feeling too good. I think you should. Do you want to say something about your boy and how? Come on up here, Melody. No, it's such an amazing story. Such an amazing story. Come. We went through a couple of bad nights together, right?
Yes. I first want to say that we had the nation behind us at a time when nobody thought our boy would make it. He was 24 years old. He was a young man on the streets of D.C., a shot to the left part of his brain. We have a strong faith in God, and God is what brought our son through this. He gave us an amazing backing. He gave us amazing doctors. He gave us amazing nurses. And our community, our nation, our community, are just all of the support and the support of the White House medical staff. Anything that our son needed was met. We are just truly thankful. And we're a little over 5 months. He came home from the hospital April 2nd. And he is now enjoying being home. He's getting back into playing golf. He loves cornhole, as you know. Yes. Sure. He loves doing so many activities, and so we're truly blessed that we're able to get him into some outpatient care closer to home. We do have another surgery coming up in September, and just recovery is my understanding that will happen for quite some time, but I have no doubt that he will be 100% back to Andrew within a few years, independent, driving, being a young bachelor again. So thank you so much.
Incredible. That's incredible. That's incredible. Nobody really can understand it, but I was with the general, who was fantastic, right? And he said, not much of a chance, maybe no chance. I mean, I hate to say it even, but no chance. They all said the same thing. And she said, no, God is with him. I'm telling you, President, God is with him. He's going to be okay. And I get reports that he's amazing. Right? So congratulations. Thank you very much. You taught us all something. Appreciate it. Also joining us is an outstanding active duty Air Force mom, Lieutenant Colonel Amanda Colazzo. She's an MQ-9 Reaper drone pilot. Whoa, that's pretty good. An evaluator, a weapons officer, and desk officer at the Defense Threat Reduction Agency. She has traveled to 20 countries, flown over 7,000 hours, and eliminated many high-value targets. She's a great talent, they say. Our military is strong again, and as Amanda says to herself, and we are, as a nation, we are really respected again. She said that, and it's true. So, Amanda, thank you very much. Where are you, Amanda? Where are you? Come on up here, Amanda. I got to do this. You know, they're not expected to, but they're doing very well. Come on up. That's great.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Melania, for hosting this event. Thank you, Cindy, for inviting me out here. I just want to say I'm proud to be an American. I am proud to serve our nation, the world's greatest Air Force. Thank you for all of the moms out here and for your spouses, your kids, yourselves. So thank you all, and happy Mother's Day.
She's very sharp, isn't she? She'll be running for office someday. Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. As Commander-in-Chief, I will always support our great service members and their families. We've invested a record-setting trillion, and now it's up to $1.5 trillion, and all built in the USA, by the way, all right? So it's a lot of jobs, too, you know? Some people said I did it for that. Actually, I didn't. I did it for the military, but it's a byproduct. We have tremendous numbers of very talented people building all of the things that we do, and we make the best equipment anywhere in the world by far. They're all ordering it for us. In fact, I've given a special edict that the defense companies who have the best equipment, they're not making it fast enough, and now they're all building plants all over the place. I said, you're not allowed to buy back stock anymore. I told some of these people that are making millions and millions of dollars, you got to reduce your salary. I'm going to reduce your salary. You're going to put it into weapons. And it's been incredible, the spirit we have. And they're building, some of them are building 6, 7 plants right now to make the Patriots and the Tomahawks. Tomahawks are unbelievable. Patriots, unbelievable. We had, recently, we had 111 missiles shot at one of our very valuable objects, something called an aircraft carrier. Think of this, 111 missiles, high range, high quality, speed missiles, very high, very fast, very top of the line. 111 out of 111 missiles shot at a, you know, well, it used to be, you'd like to say, $1 billion boat. Now they're about $18 billion. They're very expensive. But 111 coming at them at 3,500 miles an hour. All 111 were shot down and didn't even get close to the ship. And they're all laying at the bottom of the ocean along with the Iranian Navy. They're all laying very nicely under the water. But think of that. 5 years ago, a thing like that would have been impossible. 10 years ago, it's not even thinkable. Ronald Reagan actually thought of the concept. They called it Star Wars, but it wasn't a concept that anybody thought would ever work. But, you know, you have these things coming at you, and we have the Patriots. The Patriots are the best of them. And we have other things also. But it's when you think you hit 100% of the missiles coming at it, it's not like, oh, let's let a couple get through. It's not that bad. One gets through, it's problems. So we can do things today, and no other country has anything like that. They don't have anything with the power, with the strength, and with the, you know, it's accuracy, really. It's accuracy. Got to hit. It's like hitting a needle in a haystack, they were saying. and yet they do it every time. It's pretty amazing, and we have the most talented people operating that equipment. For that, you have to be high IQ, and you have to have no choke, because you have about 12 seconds to make a decision and take the aim, and you have to be very good mathematically. You have to know what you're doing. You have to be very smart. You have to see the education, the schools. They go to the best schools in the world. Some of them come out of, I know I called up a couple. I said, where did you go to school? I went to MIT. Oh, good, that's good. So it's, it's a very different, frankly, it's a very different military in many ways. But we have invested a record-setting amount of dollars, and the U.S. Armed Forces is now stronger than it's ever been, and we're getting stronger, and it's so important. Every branch is setting records in recruitment, and I'm very proud of the Space Force, because that was a branch that, a new one that came up, and we were losing to Russia and to China in space, and we had it as part of the Air Force, but it wasn't really thought of, once it's part of something. And we put a great general in charge, and the Space Force is now leading the other countries, China, Russia, and there is no fourth, really, and leading them by, we saw numbers the other day, we're leading in space by so much, we're never going to be caught. So I'm very proud of Space Force. First time that's taken place, a new force. The last one was the Air Force. And that was 78 years ago, so this is brand new, and we're very proud of it. It's turned out to be, I think it's going to be one of our most important as time goes by. A lot of the things that you see, a lot of the accuracy of the weapons is caused because of what we created with Space Force, so we're very proud of that. But every branch is setting records in recruitment. When last year, if you remember, before I came to office, actually after the election, it started picking up rapidly, to be honest with you. November 5th, we had a little election. We did quite well. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote. We won everything. We won 87% of the counties. We won it all. But I will tell you, right after that election, it started. But before that, we had the worst recruiting in the history of our country. People didn't want to be in the armed services. They didn't want to be police. They didn't want to be firemen. They didn't want to be anything with a uniform representing our country. And it was the lowest number we've ever had. And I can say very confidently that at this moment we have the highest recruitment, the most successful recruitment for the military, Army, Navy, the Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force, all of it. We have the highest recruitment, the best recruitment that we've ever had. We have lines of people wanting to get in. We're taking people based on their fitness and their quality. We're taking... you wouldn't believe what the difference it is. And Washington, D.C. is an example. And that's why it's so sad when Melody comes up and talks about that one event, because, the numbers in Washington, D.C. Are so incredible. The numbers have gone down from we had a place that was so unsafe, our great capital, and now it's considered one of the safest cities anywhere in the United States. We went to Memphis, and Memphis was a killing field practically, and now it's down. The numbers are down. Crime 80%. In New Orleans, Louisiana, the governor called up, Jeff Landry. He said, "Sir, we have the Mardi Gras coming up, and we have a lot of crime in the city. Can you do something?" And we put our people there, mostly National Guard, but whatever's necessary. And we have crime was down 79% after 2.5, 3 months. And by the way, if they had the brains in Chicago, they'd ask us to go there. We'll solve the problem for them very quickly. We'd go to San Francisco very quickly. San Francisco would be so easy for us. We'd go to New York and help them out. We'd love to help them out. And we'd get crime numbers down 70%, 80%, 90% in a matter of months. We took it in D.C. It was really bad. I don't want to go into the numbers in terms of using the word murder, but it was really bad. And it's gone from that to being, we're down 92%. And actually, I'm trying to figure out, the 8%, who they are. One of the things we did, and some people like it, but the numbers speak for themselves. If you really get down, you see drug traffic coming into our country is way down. And by ocean, by the water, a lot of people say, what do you mean by sea? Is it sea like vision? No, it's sea. SEA, but it's down 97%. Think of it, 97%. For years, they'd grab a boat and they'd bring him in and they'd see a judge and they'd let him out, and the next day he's back in his country, bring in more drugs in. Nothing worked. We're down nothing. Get worse, worse, worse. Down 97%. And we're trying to figure who the 3% are, because we consider them to be maybe the bravest people anywhere in the world. You look at those boats, pume, pume, and you feel terribly except for one thing. Those boats, 25,000 people die from just a couple of those boats. Think of it, from drugs, ruin families, ruin everything. And when you see that, you say, thank you very much. But drugs coming in by sea are down 97%. And now we've started the land force, which is much easier. And you'll hear some complaints from some people in, like, representatives from Mexico and other places. But if they're not going to do the job, we're going to do the job, and they understand that. So that's sort of the easy one by comparison to the sea. We had to do the sea first. You had no idea how much came in by water, and very little, almost nothing is coming in right now. They don't want to do that anymore. But no one should ever doubt the resolve of America's military moms. They're incredible. From the start of our republic down to today, our nation's been strengthened by the love and devotion and the commitment of incredible women. These are really incredible women who've served our country, supported our troops, and poured out their care and compassion for this nation that we all love. So I just want to thank everybody, and happy Mother's Day, and God bless you all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Start packing quickly.
I don't want anybody near it.
No, I don't want to be near it. The kid for photography likes our friend.
We can't move it out a little bit on the next.
We can.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
He's just worried about that.
Would it be better if I sat on the stool and you stayed? No, please. Okay.
He's just saying, like, he could sit in front of you, is what he was saying.
Yeah, I mean, it would be better if you were on this side.
Yeah.
Where do you want it? Yeah, I'm fine right there. As long as you don't pick up, yeah.
Okay.
Believe me.
Are you good? Okay. You'll be able to hear if they're standing Corner is what the corner is, guys. There's just too many. No. That's this way? Yeah, okay. Okay.
And then, so like, go to the no, I had I don't know if it's considered Oh, you carry
That was so crazy. I mean, listen, you have the right instincts. Should I do that? There we go. Hello? Yeah. All
There's a problem with that.
So this is just the
Right. No, it's just them providing an update.
How are you? How are you?
We've got about 5 minutes, guys. About 5 minutes, yeah.
Stop teasing us.
You can come through.
No, we'll go for this.
I've actually never spent like 24 hours. I don't think I've ever spent a night here. And I was so excited. Yeah. We'll have to be back. It's just like really like my brain is like this week I'm like yeah, it's like accomplished on reasons there's no way never know moment, that's for sure. Yes. Oh, you did? Yeah. Oh, that was fun. Yeah.
My bowling pose.
Yes, I'm doing that today. But I don't think I would get past 5 right now. I was flying to my I want to forget what hearing it was. But yeah. I just remember this corner so specifically.
Heads up, guys. They're walking. They're walking. On their way.
Well, now we know why that interview was not videotaped. If Donald Trump had seen the video transcript, he would have fired Howard Lutnick. It was really embarrassing. He was asked very straightforward questions about whether he regretted misleading the American people. I mean, he said that he would never see Epstein again in 2005. And everyone knows that he took his wife and kids to see Epstein in 2012. And yet it was just contortions and lies and no acknowledgement that he misled the American public. And if you saw the exchanges that my colleagues had with him, you would see he made a farce of the English language. I mean, he was trying to define I as if saying that what he really meant is that he would not see Epstein alone, but be totally fine with having his wife and kids see Epstein. It made no sense. And then he's raised even more serious concerns about the investigation. He originally had said that Epstein engaged in blackmail and recorded videotapes. Now he's saying, well, he was wrong. He was just speculating, and Epstein actually didn't engage in blackmailing. This raises the question of what the cover-up is. Did someone tell him to say that? I've not heard that that Epstein never engaged in blackmail. Why is Howard Lutnick changing his testimony, changing his story? He's lost all credibility, and really it's a shame that the American people don't get to see what he did there. Total lack of truth and lack of honesty.
Yeah, I agree. Howard Lutnick should resign. That was absolutely mind-boggling what we just heard in the room. He was evasive, nervous, he was dishonest. He would not admit to lying, which he clearly did in the podcast. He said he was never in the room with Jeffrey Epstein ever again after the first time he met him. Yet he then admitted that he was in the room with Jeffrey Epstein. I had to ask him whether he and I were in the same room just now, because I couldn't understand his meaning of we were in the same room together. And then he said that Jeffrey Epstein was a sick man, that he would never want to be in the room with him again. Yet he was in the room with him again when he visited his island where Jeffrey Epstein raped women, underage women, and he brought his kids and his friends with him to that island when he met with Jeffrey Epstein. He said he never met with Jeffrey Epstein again socially, yet he admits that that was a social visit to his island. And so he was clearly being dishonest. He was clearly being evasive. And finally, he doesn't remember why he went to Jeffrey Epstein's island, which is also mind-boggling. He somehow remembers going to the island after pictures surfaced of him being at the island. but he doesn't remember why he went to the island. And we had the emails. That's why we found out he was at the island. This is absolutely absurd, and he should resign.
Good afternoon, Congresswoman Ansari from Arizona's 3rd District. After what we have seen so far in this transcribed interview, I feel very comfortable saying that Howard Lutnick is a pathological liar who is enabling the most egregious cover-up in American history. We have now gone through the timeline of events with him in detail, an excruciating detail, from when they met in 2005. This is Howard Lutnick and his wife meeting Jeffrey Epstein. He described it himself in great detail on a podcast last year where he said that they went to his home, they took a tour, and allegedly were so uncomfortable after seeing the massage tables in Jeffrey Epstein's home that Howard Lutnick went on this podcast to tell the American people that he himself, and my colleagues referenced the definitions he tried to change of what he meant there, but he said that he would never socially or professionally be involved or be in a room with Jeffrey Epstein again. Then in 2012, he took his family and his staff to Jeffrey Epstein's island. I focus my questions today on how he could have done that if him and his wife were truly so uncomfortable, especially when in 2008, we know that Jeffrey Epstein was accused and the sweetheart deal took place for soliciting a minor. Howard Lutnick tried to tell us in that room that he essentially didn't know any of that. I asked him, how did I, as a child at the time, see this all over the media about Jeffrey Epstein, and you, an adult who was this person's neighbor who had engaged with him before, how could you possibly not have known? I mean, the level of the lies that are taking place inside that room without video is unbelievable and part of this egregious cover-up. I recommend that every single American, when this interview is released, read the document in full. You will see Howard Lutnick use phrases like how it's inexplicable and unsettling that he went to the island. That's how he defines it himself. It's inexplicable how this happened. He also tries to define all of their interactions as quote-unquote meaningless and inconsequential. I think he's used those terms about 20 times so far and continues to use them. So I will just end by saying that there are real victims here. There are potentially over 1,000 women who were abused and raped when they were children. And even at the bare minimum, Howard Lutnick was aware of these things. He knew. It just demonstrates the culture of enabling these crimes and allowing rich and powerful people like Jeffrey Epstein and all of the other disgusting rich and powerful men who committed these crimes to continue. Because people like Howard Lutnick knew these things were happening because they were all over the news and continued to engage and legitimize somebody like Jeffrey Epstein.
Earlier today, Chairman Comer said that he hadn't seen any evidence of wrongdoing by Secretary Lutnick. And that's actually the problem with the Trump administration, this Republican majority in Congress, because lying to the American people is wrongdoing. And Howard Lutnick lied to the American people. I hope today that we would have heard some remorse, some contrition from Secretary Lutnick for flat out lying to the American people. Instead, what we've heard thus far is hours of testimony where he's attempting to redefine the meaning of the word I. He claims that when he said, I would never be in a room again with Jeffrey Epstein, he meant only him and Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein was so gross to him, so disgusting, that he wasn't willing to be in a room with them, but he was perfectly okay with his wife and family being in a room with Epstein. He's lying. And today's transcribed interview is part of the ongoing cover-up because the American people deserve to see the video of what's taking place in there. They deserve to see the sweat on the secretary's brow as he struggles to answer basic questions about his lies to the American people. So we're going to continue to listen and ask tough questions, but unfortunately it appears that Secretary Lutnick is not going to take any responsibility for lying to the American people today.
Can you explain for just a moment when you talked about the trip, and I'm happy to ask this to interview,
Can you explain for a moment when they took the trip on the boat, and you're saying that he's saying, oh, we were okay doing that, but he didn't want to be in the same room with him. Characterize what his remarks were, his response when he said, wait a minute, isn't this inconsistent with this travel if you're uncomfortable with being with this person?
We asked him over and over again, oh, why did you go to the island? He says he doesn't remember, that it was inexplicable, and he simply didn't know how to answer the question at that point.
That's right.
Can I follow up on the island? Yeah. On the island, did he say that he saw anything from his time there that now, in retrospect, raises alarm about Epstein's activities on the island? I mean, he mentioned in his 2005 visit to Epstein's apartment that he saw massage tables that made him uncomfortable. Did he see anything in his time on the island? Did he mention any specifics about what he saw there?
Those questions were specifically asked by the majority during the first hour, and he said no to all of it.
And also, it's important to note, he could remember nothing about the visit to the island. Couldn't remember why he was there, couldn't remember anything he saw. Apparently, he could remember in great detail the 2005 visit to the townhouse and the massage tables that were there. Now, 2005 is 7 years before 2012, so his memory was sharp with respect to 2005, but dull with respect to 2012 and the visit to the island.
And this is why this is such a cover-up. I mean, he refused to say there was any blackmailing, even though he thought that happened in the past. He refused to say that there was any video recording, even though he said in the past that Epstein was video recording these young girls. He refused to say anything abnormal about Epstein's island. So someone obviously got to him from the administration. In fact, he said he talked to people in the administration, and that's why he's changed his tune. And the question is not just why he's lying. The question is why he's covering up, why he's no longer willing to share what he knows about Epstein's abhorrent behavior.
Can we follow up on what you just said about, did he talk to President Trump ahead of this interview? You say he talked to people in the Trump administration.
He said he did not talk to President Trump.
Why do you think Secretary Lutnick agreed to appear voluntarily? Did he address that at all? It is significant that he's the only cabinet secretary that has appeared for this.
Well, he didn't want to be subpoenaed. I mean, he knew that we have the Republican votes to subpoena him, just like we did with Pam Bondi. And it's the first time that a cabinet member has been subpoenaed. What I expected, honestly, I expected him to say, well, you know, I regret what I said on the podcast. I should have had been transparent about this incident with the family. Nothing happened that was terrible, but you know what? I should have had better judgment. And here are the things I know about Epstein. He was a disgusting person. Let me try to help in the investigation. He did none of that.
Can I ask two questions to follow up on what you just said, Congressman Khanna? You mentioned that he spoke to members of the administration and then he changed his tune. Did he say who exactly he spoke to and when he spoke to them?
You want to take that? You asked that question? Yeah.
Sure.
He could not recall who he spoke to in the administration. It's also important to note he was asked by a number of us if he spoke to President Trump about today's testimony, and he refused to answer that question. He did say he didn't speak to President Trump or Donald Trump when he was not president, but he would not answer the question as to whether he spoke to President Trump about today's testimony.
And then secondly, the secretary had told you guys that he found the invitation to the island to be unsettling, how his assistant knew that he was in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Did he talk about why he accepted an unsettling invitation?
This is what I was asking during my line of questioning. Why did you go when you were so clear on this podcast and you've described in great detail that you and your wife were so alarmed by this person and did not want to ever be in a room with him? And to the point of the statement that he had made, I mean, they were very clear statements that I would never in a social, professional setting be in a room with this person. And then we later got him to admit that visiting someone's island and having lunch with them is in fact considered a social situation. And so no, he would not, and I find that extremely unbelievable. I mean, I think of all of the depositions that we have done so far, I find Howard Lutnick to be the least credible with the way that he just refuses to acknowledge how misleading his statements were. I mean, quite frankly, he lied in the podcast, but he refuses to acknowledge that. He still is trying to stand by the fact that that he was truthful in those statements.
Behind you, did the secretary, I haven't gotten a question yet, sorry. Did the secretary indicate whether or not he had had any business dealings with Jeffrey Epstein, and more specifically, whether they invested in the same company?
Yeah, the Republicans asked that in the first hour. He did admit that a subsidiary of his company was invested in a company that Jeffrey Epstein was invested in as well. And they did have an email exchange about that. And then as Democrats, are you all planning to do anything to compel the secretary's testimony on camera going further, since you don't seem satisfied that this was... That may be coming, but well, stay tuned.
Meaning the idea that you might ask for
Chairman Comer called for a public hearing.
Sorry, I haven't...
Go ahead.
If I may go, thank you. You said that you believe that he's covering up. Do you have any indication, or in your questioning, were you able to zero in, or perhaps you've seen in the documents, who you believe he's covering up for and how extensive that cover-up is?
I think he's covering up for the administration. And let me give the exact exchange that, and Representative Walkinshaw can elaborate on it because he really drilled down on it. First, Secretary Lutnick said on the podcast that there was blackmail going on, right? Then he says to my inquiry, well, no, I was just speculating. I said, well, what was your basis for speculating? Well, I didn't have any basis. I take it back. You know, it seems like this is the administration's modus operandi, just speculate with no basis. But here he's saying, okay, I take it back. So then I said, well, why did you take it back? Well, I talked to administration officials. Then Representative Walkinshaw asked him, well, who did you talk to? And he says, well, no, I just learned about this in public. I didn't talk to the administration officials. Well, Massey and I have been doing this, and all of us have been doing this for months. I've never seen a single public statement that there was no blackmail. So the question is, why is he changing his tune? Who is getting to him in the administration to basically have him say nothing was wrong? Let's move on. That's what he was saying.
That's right. No, I think you nailed it. That's good.
Representative Donna, the Justice Department last July said that there was no blackmail in its memo. So why do you keep saying that there was no blackmail said by the administration?
We have not. We have not. That is not what the survivors believe. That is not what the testimony has been of other individuals. And there has not been investigation of people like Les Wexner, or people like Leon Black, and many other people. That's why we're calling for investigations. And he certainly did not reference that memorandum.
Democrats win the midterms. What changes with regard, if this investigation is continuing, what do you see changes with regard to this investigation and how you get more answers should the Democrats win?
Well, for starters, these interviews are going to be on video, and we're going to make sure that the American people get to see what we got to saw as legislators today. We're going to be completely transparent and honest when it comes to this investigation.
So to be clear, you're going to try to have him come in again and try to maybe do this under a subpoena, which would
I didn't say. I said generally that we're going to make sure that these types of interviews are on video and that the American people get to see them.
Just in the future.
I'm not ruling out him again. I'm just saying generally.
Can we get your reaction on something else? On the other investigation dealing with the D.C. and the investigation with the police department. 9 officers have now been put on leave or an investigation. Just want to get your thoughts on that investigation and where we're at on it.
That's a great question for another day. I think that was the last question.
Well, I just wanted to see what...
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a chicken shit move.
Everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, did anyone think when he comes out here? I need somebody to ask him a question. Okay? Please, for somebody asking a question, I'm just like, okay. Do you recognize him? No, I'm serious. Do you like that'll make his entire. So just please do that. For me, I will give you something. When you need to come down. So look into that stuff. What?
Oh, now it's.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Although, is that better?
You don't need it.
This might invite.
To sit? What? We can just stick it out.
Thank you.
Come on.
It's actually a meeting that they're having with the Secretary of, what is it?
I forgot the Secretary's name, but I know this is we've been doing this for a while. Right now, it's, I'll tell you right now, it has to do with Jeffrey Epstein. And it's, he's having a deposition, basically. Ludney. It's inside the committee, but it's Secretary Ludney and on the House Oversight Committee.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess Comer's going to be coming in soon. They said within the next 5 to 10 minutes. Who? Comer.
Really?
Yeah, the chairman. So he's going to come out here to the pool camp.
Okay. Okay, nobody told us that, but okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You said the next 5 minutes.
That's what Austin came out to say.
Austin just told me within the hour.
Oh, jeez. I don't like that.
I was like,
He said within the hour. He doesn't know how long it is. So yeah, I guess if you're ready, 5 minutes to an hour. But the goal that they usually tell us
Because
After a big time that night, didn't want. Like, stay away. Most people are. My goodness. The Parker's anyway. Okay, thank you.
There's a blog. There's a blog right there. That's like.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch it.
That's right, but that's.
Yeah, I'm just going to stand right here.
Thank you. Actually, that's good because
No one else can see. It's just covered. I was going to walk those rides back. Much job. Yeah, it'll be fine. And the main believe me, it's called Christopher on the art development. It's a theme though, God. Then over on it's like A. That goes good. That goes maybe run first 3 months.
So we good? We good? Okay.
You're seen and you're appreciated.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
It starts to stretch. Well, I don't think someone gets back. You can say that.
Awesome. Him coming out, we had
That it's okay when you say over?
Yeah.
No, it is not. Unless it has ended in iron.
Thank you.
You absolutely, I strongly encourage. I want you to ask the fastest member of Congress questions.
You beat him. You beat him.
All right, he'll be out in about 2 minutes.
There's nothing else to do right now. Yeah, I think Lundy mentioned it. Went in. I mean, you could. There are other doors. You could just march in front of it.
Yeah, I mean, if we're more here.
It could be a good time to leave.
You should come to Chicago.
I said good for him. It was so funny because like he's retiring. He's like, I can't do it next year. It's only goes downhill from here. He was thrilled. I was like, he literally was cloud nine. He's been talking about it all day.
No.
At the very beginning of the TI. Like, yeah, okay.
That's funny.
This week's been easier than next week. It hasn't been brutal. I was expecting pretty slow. There's been some each day. Yeah. But it really just one day each day. It's better than usual, which is, it hasn't been as.
All right, he's coming out.
I'm waiting for someone to come out.
I feel compelled to have to come out and clean up and correct some of the statements that the Democrats made. I couldn't believe as I was getting updates of what they were saying. And I hope that when you get the transcripts, you fact check them on what they say. This is a habit of the Democrats on this committee coming out telling you all stuff that was said that was not said. The only cover-up that I've seen on the Oversight Committee is the cover-up of the Democrats trying to cover up our investigations of the Metro Police Department, lying about crime statistics, and the cover-up of the Minnesota fraud by Tim Waltz and Keith Ellison, and the cover-up of the hospice fraud in California. So what we asked some very substantive questions the first hour. The Democrats, during their hour, repeated the exact same questions because there's only so many questions you can ask Howard Lutnick, who had a property next door to Epstein in New York, but talked to him 3 times over a decade, 3 interactions over a decade. He was on the island with his family, with his wife and kids, 6 people in his family and 6 people in his friend's family
for lunch for 2 hours, and he has admitted that. So the Democrats are going to go another hour. I'm sure they're going to try to filibuster and do whatever. They had a narrative to come in. They were hoping Lutnick wouldn't come in. They were hoping Pam Bondi wouldn't come in. Remember, Pam Bondi came in a month ago to answer questions. The Democrats didn't ask him a single question. The first 20 minutes of the Democrats' question in here, they complained about not having video and not having things to be able to put on MSNBC for their angry purple-haired viewers to be outraged over. This is a serious investigation. I've subpoenaed the estate. We've subpoenaed the Department of Justice. We've brought in one cabinet secretary, fixing to be 2 cabinet secretaries. We're bringing in some of the richest and most powerful people in the world. We're doing everything in our ability to get answers. And it's so frustrating when someone like Ro Khanna, who I can't believe when Ro Khanna comes in here, he's already gone on the floor and accused men of being criminals in the Epstein investigation who weren't even criminal, who weren't even involved. He had to go recant his story. And then Walkinshaw, my gosh, I mean, I know he's in a tough primary against a unique individual, and I guess you have to lie and pander to outrage people over to try to win a Democrat primary. I don't know, but the times that Ro Khanna, I'm not going to say Ro Khanna lied, the mistakes that Ro Khanna's made and come out here and delivered to you all, I can't keep up with. And the times that Walkinshaw has walked out here, who has just been here a few weeks, he's just been in Congress a few weeks, but he thinks he's the smartest person here, and the number of lies that he said. So I'm hoping that when you get the transcript, you will fact check these members. It's a disservice to you, it's a disservice to your readers, to your viewers, when the Democrats come out here and just lie. So we're going to come back in. We'll see if the Democrats ask any different questions than what we asked over the first hour. Again, there's only so many questions you can ask a man that had 3 interactions with Epstein over his entire life. So did anybody have any questions? I'll go back, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Democrats had zeroed in their discussions out here with us about Lutnick's testimony regarding when he said, I would no longer see Jeffrey Epstein. They said that he meant him personally one-on-one and not in a group setting. Can you describe to us how you interpreted Secretary Lutnick's answer on those on that line of questioning, and if you were satisfied?
Which line now? Which line exactly?
They said that the reason why, in 2005, he said that he would no longer, he would cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein, and then he met with him later on. Democrats have said that Lutnick essentially said that he didn't personally want to be one-on-one with him in a room, but was okay, suggested he was okay in a group setting.
Yeah. If I remember from recollection, we'll see with the transcripts, but I believe he was saying that when he met him, he just had bad vibes, but didn't know anything. It's hard to imagine some of the things, and by all accounts, whether it was the Clintons or President Trump or whomever that had interaction with Epstein, I don't think anybody knew about the crimes until he was prosecuted in Palm Beach in 2008, I believe. Yes.
Are you concerned? One of the things the Democrats said, but has come out, is that Secretary Lutnick has changed some of what he said, whether it's the timeline or whether it's going to the island. So do you feel like you got direct answers, or are you still concerned that he's changed the facts?
Right off the bat, he corrected his statement on the time that he came to the island, and he said, that if I remember correctly, and you can look back on the transcript, he said that somehow Epstein found out that his family and friends were going to be vacationing in the Caribbean or around the Virgin Islands, and he invited them to lunch, and they docked there for, he thinks, no more than 2 hours. It was his wife and 4 other family members, and then six others. So there were 12 in a group. They didn't go in the house or anything there.
So did he explain why that was okay? When, back in 2005, he seemed to suggest that he didn't want any further involvement with him. Did he explain that discrepancy in detail? And if so, what did he say?
I mean, I feel like that Lutnick's been very transparent. He came in voluntarily. I said before this thing started, the only thing that I had seen that Lutnick did wrong wasn't 100% truthful on the brief visit to the island with his family. He corrected that in his opening statement. And we'll see. We'll continue our investigation, and if we find that there were any misstatements by Lutnick, it's a felony to lie to Congress, and he'll be held accountable. It's too bad it's not a felony for a member of Congress to lie to the media, or we would have a lot of Democrats that would be having to lawyer up right now. So, yeah, Max?
The Democrats made a big point about this not being videotaped. Can you respond to why this is not a video?
We had Ted Wade in last week. It wasn't videotaped. They didn't say a thing about that. We had the Metro Police whistleblowers come in on that investigation that they said was phony, that we proven they lied about the crime statistics, which I think is happening in other cities in the United States, and we'll continue our investigation in other cities. They didn't say anything about that. We've had Minnesota fraud depositions with the whistleblowers in Minnesota. Those weren't videotaped. We're trying to get people in as quick as we can. You see the list continues to grow of people we bring in for interviews and depositions with respect to this investigation or any other investigation. Let me tell you, it's very hard to get people in. I don't think the average person realizes how many hours of phone time is involved with our staff communicating with their lawyers to try to get people to come in to do these interviews. I mean, everything has to be perfect. They may say a day that we have another transcribed interview, or maybe a day that they have a medical appointment or a child's wedding or things like that. So we're doing the best we can to bring people in. If they'll come in voluntarily, we try to work with them and do whatever we can. But the truth of the matter is, the Democrats want video so that they can mislead their base or whatever into trying to say something happened that didn't happen or whatever. The transcript, any Democrat that wants to be here can be here. I know that I've missed one deposition, I think, in the Epstein when I had oral surgery, and the Democrats trashed me on it. This is the second Epstein interview we've had in a row, and Garcia wasn't here. I know he was reading comic books, I think, during the Ted Wade video. I don't know where he is today. But again, that's another thing. The members don't have to be here. This is done by staff. We have professional staff. The Democrats have professional staff. The Republicans have professional staff. We have attorneys who are professional deposers. That's what they do. But at the end of the day, if you'll come in voluntarily, we'll work with you. We'll try to get this thing in and out. And the videos, to my knowledge, there was never any videos of depositions until the January 6th hearings. But yes.
The Democrats suggested that the reason Lutnick may have been changing his story is because they have talked to the administration prior to coming.
Of course they said that. Of course they said that. It's always about Trump. It's never about the victims. It's never about justice for the survivors. It's never about holding people accountable that should have prosecuted Epstein years ago. It's always about Donald Trump. It's always about the midterm elections and trying to flip the House and trying to motivate their base. From my standpoint, from most of the Republicans on this committee standpoint, our purpose is to get the truth to the American people. We don't care if they're Republicans or Democrats. We don't care if they're rich or poor. We are going to bring them in. We're going to ask them questions. We're going to be transparent with you all. I'm not going to stand up here and lie and say somebody said something that they didn't, like Walkinshaw does time and time again. I hope I don't make mistakes like Ro Khanna does time and time again. So, one more question.
Thanks, Mr. The Democrats have also been pushing for when Pam Bondi comes in to have that on video.
Why? They had her in. They just had her in. They had an opportunity to have Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche. They were going to be here all day. And they didn't ask a single question. They didn't ask a single question because they want a video. They want a video, and they want that ACY or whatever that thing is, so he can always misinform the low IQ viewers who follow him on Twitter as to what was said. And you read the transcript. That's why 99.9% of the depositions are done. And again, this isn't about the administration. This is about the victims, and hopefully, we'll have witnesses that'll be coming in over the next 6 witnesses that will have pertinent information. I think, this guy Lutnick had 3 interactions with Epstein over 10 years. He's been very forthcoming with those interactions. And again, we asked, I think, every question you all would ask that first hour. The Democrats, after their outrage, they asked the exact same questions. I'm going to make a prediction, and you can look at the transcript. They're asking the exact same questions that we asked the first hour, and they asked the second hour.
So to be clear, you don't believe the secretary is lying?
Are you ruling out then any videos for future depositions?
Well, it just depends on how hard it is for people to come in. It just depends. If the Clintons took 7 months to come in, and that's something that most. I don't think it's any secret whether nobody wants to be videoed. If you come in, you work with us, then you might not have to be videoed.
So you're not ruling it out?
I'm not ruling it out. It just depends on how easy it is to get these people in, because we're on a timeline. The clock's ticking. We're dealing with some of the most powerful attorneys in the world. We're dealing with the O.J. Simpson legal team with a lot of these guys, and it's very difficult to get these people in. But I think we've had great success in that. I hope we continue to do that. It's just real frustrating when people like Walkinshaw, who's been here 2 months and is losing in the Democrat primary, has to come out here and lie to try to save his political butt. It's just very frustrating. But we'll continue to be transparent. As soon as the lawyers for both sides agree on the transcript, we will release this one. Hopefully we'll get the Waite transcript released in a few days. And I think we've got some more quality witnesses coming in the next few weeks that'll hopefully have more information that I think will be relevant to the investigation. Thank you all.
Clinton's punishment? How does it feel to be the fastest member of Congress?
Yeah, it's nice to have other people who have to.
You did. Too real. Probably in the Twitterverse. That's probably where we lost it. Yeah. I was going to say, I know we communicated at one point. I just don't know if we communicated. Well, obviously, Jessica's amazing too. So, like, anything we can always do to help you guys, more than happy. This is the
So I'm just going to push this in a little bit so that if they decide to.
Yes. I know the work number.
I don't like when he said Garcia the comic books. He read my mind.
So we ran a 5K this morning for a charity, and a lot of news outlets run it here, but a lot of news outlets run it in the morning. He won the award for fastest member in the 5K, so now he's got that to talk about all day today. So he's really close to that. And then a lot of the reporters that have been here today also ran the race this morning, so they saw him finish, and so that's kind of been a running joke. Asexually. So they do a lot of programs for basically like children and like youth development like across the country. And so it's just generally really great. It's called the Capital Challenge, and all House members and Senate members and admin officials can participate. I think Congressional arranges with it too. But yeah, usually it's a pretty good turnout, especially when it's usually what happens when we're in session, which this week was supposed to be in session, but because it wasn't, like turnout from a member perspective was lower, but he was able to make it still, obviously. So he's been on cloud 9. He got like 4 awards and thinks he's now like the greatest thing since sliced bread. Exactly. He's basically it's gearing up for LA 28. So
Amazing. Well, I can reference that now.
Reach out anytime, okay?
Really appreciate it.
Of
Thanks
course.
so much.
Thank you.